Hello and welcome to Carmen Miller's Talk of the Town, Carolinas. I'm your host, Patti Mercer, here with a special story to talk about a disease that's affecting 1 in 200 children. Let's learn more. And you are a wife and a mother, and we're going to talk about something very close to your heart, which is?
PANDAS, which is an acronym. PANDAS it stands for Pediatric Autoimmune Neuropsychiatric Disorder associated with strep, so it's a mouthful.
Now, how did you get involved with this particular cause?
Well, my son was diagnosed with PANDAS back in May. It started with some behavioral regressions in school. He was in 4th grade, so that some of his behavioral regressions started in the fall. Things like running from the classroom, banging his head, ripping up his work, refusing to do work. And these were all new behaviors. This was a child that was asked to be in the accelerated and gifted math program.
How did behavior come? What is the connection between strep and behavior? I mean, I thought you just had a sore throat, you got some antibiotics, and you were good to go.
Right.
There's more to the story, apparently.
There's more to the story. So not unlike an untreated strep infection that may lead to rheumatic fever of the heart, they have found now that untreated strep infections can lead to the autoimmune condition, and instead of attacking the heart, it's attacking the brain.
Does it cause permanent damage?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
We don't know. What we do know is that when these antibodies cross that blood-brain barrier and they come close to the basal ganglia, we're talking about behavior, we're talking about social cues, we're talking about executive functioning,
all the things that you need for
processing. School. All of the things that you need for school.
What kind of explanations did they give you to explain his behavior?
We were referred for an autism evaluation.
Even though he's in
9.5 years old,
okay.
Never presented with autistic symptoms before, that had never come up.
How did you feel?
You think, how did I miss this? How did he get to be 9.5 years old and no one's ever mentioned autism before? What is happening? Another thing they brought up was ADD or ADHD. You know, these kind of odd and somewhat sudden onset behaviors are kind of what tipped us off that there was a little bit more going on than a possible ADHD, or maybe that wasn't quite putting our finger on it and we weren't quite sure.
So you began a journey to find other people that may be experiencing what you're experiencing. What did you find? How prevalent is PANDA? So
PANDAS is said to affect 1 in 200 children.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of children. So when you think about, an entire school, like around here, we might have 700, 800 kids.
Right.
There might be 4, 5, or 6 kids in that school who have PANDAS, maybe diagnosed, maybe not.
What does it take in terms of therapy, in terms of healing? What's the future look like for someone like your son?
What it looks like is long-term antibiotic use to prevent the child from having any, further infections or causing even more immune response. And then depending on the case, they may need steroids, they might need IV infusion of human immunoglobulin.
I mean, do people carry strep without realizing it?
They can. I was carrying it. We all, our whole family had to get tested.
Wow.
It's really tough to diagnose, and I think that's why we're having such a hard time in the community or in the healthcare industry right now getting the diagnosis recognized. The PANDAS, that's not going to show up on as a diagnosis code. So what they're calling this is autoimmune encephalitis.
In terms of raising awareness, what are your plans?
Well, our plans right now, we do have a walk coming up.
So there's an organization?
Yeah, so there are several different organizations, but one organization that I volunteer with, we call it PRAI, P-R-A-I.
Okay.
And that's PANS Research and Advocacy Initiative. So we are working to advocate for and with other parents to raise awareness. We are funding a a research endowment. Our goal is $100,000 by the time we do our walk on September 16th at MARVIN Ridge High School.
Okay.
To date, we are just over 70,000, and we started this initiative just about 30 days ago. So we are progressing quickly because it's urgent. We don't have time. These kids are losing their childhoods. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And you're with Keller Williams.
I am.
Which is fantastic.
Yes.
We love Keller Williams. And it's also an opportunity to raise awareness within the organization of realtors under the Keller Williams company name that are doing great things. If someone sees this and they feel like, wait a minute, this is striking a little too close to home.
Yes.
Where would you recommend they go to get more information?
So there's a couple resources. There is a movie, a documentary that came out a couple of years ago. It's called My Kid Is Not Crazy.
Wow.
And it's real life stories. Like I said, it's a documentary that shows, a day in the life of a family with a child with PANDAS. Right. Another place that I would go to first, probably to kind of, do a double check of all of the systems to see, does your child have this or that or meet the criteria, is the PANDAS Physician Network. And you can find that online. So if you're coming up and thinking, no one's ever mentioned this to me, a lot of the physicians are not aware of it just yet. They're not educated about it. They haven't done the research. So I would encourage any parents who might be concerned that their child has this to research that PANDAS Physician Network. And there are criteria listed on there for diagnosis as well as treatment.
Well, that's it for this edition of Carmen Miller's Talk of the Town Carolinas. If you'd like to learn more about our community, simply go to homesfortmill.com. Until next time, this is Patti Mercer. Bye-bye.